Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the world's most fascinating stories. Today, we're traveling to West Africa, specifically to the Igbo people of Nigeria, to uncover a classic tale that's been told for generations. It's a story about cunning, community, and the consequences of our actions. Get comfortable because you're about to hear the story of the tortoise and the birds. Once upon a time, in a land filled with lush forests and winding rivers, there was a great famine. The crops had failed, the rivers ran low, and every creature, big and small, felt the sharp pangs of hunger. The situation was desperate. But then, a rumor spread like wildfire through the animal kingdom. The birds, with their ability to fly high above the suffering land, had been invited to a grand feast in the sky. This wasn't just any feast. It was a banquet hosted by the Sky People, filled with more delicious food than anyone could imagine. All the birds were chirping with excitement, preening their feathers and getting ready for the long journey. They gathered together, a vibrant flock of colors and sounds, discussing the wonderful meal they were about to enjoy. And who happened to be listening in on their excited chatter? Now everyone knew MBE. He was famous throughout the land, not for his speed, of course, but for his incredibly smooth tongue and his cunning mind. He could talk his way into or out of almost any situation. And at that moment, with his stomach rumbling louder than a distant drum, MBE knew he had to get to that feast. The problem was obvious. He had a heavy shell and stubby legs, but no wings. How could a creature of the earth possibly attend a party in the sky? But MBE was not one to be discouraged. He approached the birds with a slow, deliberate walk and a very sad look on his face. "My dear friends," he began, his voice filled with sorrow, "I hear you are off to a magnificent feast. How wonderful for you. While you dine in luxury, I will remain here, slowly wasting away from this terrible famine. Oh, how I wish I could join you." The birds felt a pang of pity. They were good-hearted creatures. The dove, known for her gentle nature, cooed softly, "Oh, MB, we are so sorry. If only we could help." Seeing his chance, MB's eyes twinkled. "But you can help," he exclaimed. "I have a brilliant idea. If each of you would be so kind as to lend me just one feather, I could fashion a pair of wings for myself. Ah, I would be forever in your debt." The birds looked at each other. It seemed like a small price to pay to help a starving friend. One by one, from the grand eagle to the tiny finch, each bird plucked a single feather and gave it to the tortoise. With a collection of feathers in every color of the rainbow, MBE carefully and with great skill attached them to his shell. He looked quite strange, a walking, talking patchwork of plumage, but he flapped his new wings, and to everyone's surprise, he lifted off the ground. He was clumsy, and he wobbled a bit, but he was flying. The birds cheered, and together, the flock, with their peculiar new member, set off towards the sky. As they flew, MBE, being the smooth talker he was, quickly charmed his way into becoming the group's spokesman. "My friends," he announced, "it is customary when visiting a new land to have a single leader who speaks for all. To avoid confusion, let us agree that I will be your voice at this feast." The birds, impressed by his confidence and eloquence, readily agreed. MBE then added another stranger suggestion. "And another thing," he said. "For a special occasion like this, we should all take on new names. It will be a fun game. We'll call myself all of you." The birds thought this was a bit odd, but MBE was so charismatic, and they were so excited about the feast, they just laughed and agreed, each picking a fun new name for the day. Finally, after a long flight, they arrived in the Sky Kingdom. The sight was breathtaking. Tables stretched as far as the eye could see, laden with mountains of pounded yam, rivers of savory stews, and piles of sweet, juicy fruits. The Sky People welcomed them warmly. "Welcome, dear birds," their host announced. "We have prepared this feast for you. Who is this for?" Before any of the birds could chirp a reply, MBE stepped forward, puffed out his chest, and declared in a loud, clear voice, "Thank you for your generosity. This feast is for all of you." The host smiled, "Excellent. Then let all of you begin." Kunbi turned to the stunned birds. "You heard him," he said with a sly grin. He said, "The feast is for all of you. That's my name." And with that, he waddled over to the main table and began to eat. He devoured the best yams, drank the most delicious palm wine, and sampled every single dish. He ate and ate, stuffing himself until he could barely move. The birds watched in disbelief and horror. They had been tricked. Their hunger grew as they watched MBE, their supposed friend, consume the entire banquet that was meant for them. Their stomachs rumbled, but their hearts ached with betrayal. There was nothing left for them but a few scattered crumbs. Furious and heartbroken, the birds decided they would not fly back with such a selfish and deceitful creature. One by one, they approached the still feasting tortoise. "You tricked us, MB," said the eagle, his voice sharp. "You used our kindness for your own greed. Want my feather back." He plucked his strong flight feather from MBE's shell. Then the parrot came. "You lied to us." "I want my feather back." And he took his bright green feather. One after another, each bird came and reclaimed the feather they had so generously given. Soon, MBE was left with his bare, heavy shell, far from home, with no way to get down. He was stranded in the sky, full of food but also full of regret. He begged the birds to take a message to his wife on the ground. "Please," he pleaded with the parrot, the last to leave, "tell my wife to bring out all the soft things in our house, all the cloths, leaves and grasses, and pile them up, so I can have a soft landing when I jump." The parrot, still burning with anger, agreed to take a message, but not the one MBE had requested. He flew down to the tortoise's home and found his wife. "Your husband has a message," the parrot squawked. "He wants you to bring out all the hard things from the house, the mortar, the stones, the hose, and the machetes, and pile them in the yard." The tortoise's wife was confused, but she trusted the messenger and did as she was told, creating a large pile of hard, sharp objects. Up in the sky, MBE saw the pile forming below. From that great height, it looked soft and welcoming. Believing his wife had followed his instructions, he took a deep breath, tucked in his head and limbs, and jumped. He fell and fell, a tiny speck dropping from the clouds. But instead of landing on a soft bed of leaves, he crashed down onto the pile of stones and metal tools. His beautiful smooth shell shattered into hundreds of pieces. MBE was in terrible pain, his pride as broken as his shell, lay there moaning until a traditional healer happened to pass by. Taking pity on the foolish tortoise, the healer painstakingly gathered all the broken pieces and with great care glued them back together. The healer's work was skillful, but the shell could never be perfectly smooth again. And that, the Igbo storytellers say, is why the tortoise's shell is not smooth, but covered in a pattern of cracks and patches. It serves as a permanent reminder of a great feast in the sky, a terrible fall, and the timeless lesson that greed and deceit will always lead to a downfall. So, what do we take away from this incredible story? It's a powerful fable about the importance of honesty and the dangers of selfishness. MBE's cleverness, which could have been used for good, became a tool for greed, and it ultimately led to his own undoing. The birds and their act of collective kindness were wronged, but their unity in taking back their feathers shows the power of community in standing up against injustice. This story teaches us that our actions have consequences, and that a smooth tongue can't always save us from the fallout of our choices. The very marks on the tortoise's back are a narrative, a story etched in shell, reminding us to be grateful, to share, and to never abuse the trust of those who help us. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into Nigerian folklore. I hope you enjoyed the story of the tortoise and the birds as much as I enjoyed telling it. What lessons did you take from it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you love stories from around the world, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss an adventure. Until next time, stay curious.